Hey guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and if you've been following along for very long, you know that this summer I made several different types of serving trays. I've just been on a tray kick lately, and I wanted to make a few different types out of different materials. This time was no exception. I recently took a trip to the local hardwood store, and I picked out a fun looking piece of cypress. I'd never worked with cypress before, but it looked interesting, so I decided to make something simple with it to see how it was to work with. Because cypress is a fairly soft wood, it was a lot like working with regular pine, so I was able to make this super simple build by using my Kreg pocket hole jig. Speaking of Kreg, I'd like to give a quick thank you to them and Build Something for sponsoring this video and this project. You can find the link below to the free plans for this breakfast tray available on buildsomething.com if you'd like to make your own. Now, let's get to the build. As I already mentioned, I was using this cool piece of cypress, but you can easily make this with standard dimensional lumber from the big box store if you don't have access to a hardwood place. I trimmed my board down to one piece about 30 inches long and another piece 32 inches long. I trimmed the edge of the boards so that the 30-inch piece would be the size of a standard 1x8, so 7¼ inches wide. Then I trimmed down the 32-inch long board to make a few strips the size of a standard 1x3. So 2½ inches wide. That said, all you need to make this project is a 1x8 and a 1x3. And you'll probably have plenty of leftovers when you're finished to throw in the scrap pile. Once the boards were cut down to standard dimensional size, I cut them to their final lengths on the miter saw. I cut two identical pieces of 1x8 to 14½ inches long from the 30-inch piece, and then cut to fit the 1x3s around these pieces. I drilled 3¼ inch pocket holes with my Kreg 320 pocket hole jig along the edge of one of the 1x8 boards and used wood glue and 1¼ inch pocket hole screws to join it to the other board to make a square. While I let the glue dry, I moved on to making the handles for the tray. If you saw my recent flatware caddy build, you may have seen me make my own metal handles from an 1/8 inch steel flat stock. I loved it so much that I did it again on this project. I took two pieces of an 1/8 inch by 3¼ inch wide and about 24-ish inches long steel flat stock, and I marked the center of the pieces. Then I measured about 3 inches out from the center from each side. I clamped the steel bars to my workbench and bent them along these lines until they were about 45 degrees. Then I flipped it over and measured out from the bend about 1¼ inch and bent it again. I did this for both marks on the handle to give me a simple metal handle with 45-degree bends. I made two of these for this tray. Once I had my handles bent, I traced this shape onto the two shorter sides of the tray, keeping everything centered. I cut along this line with my jigsaw, just like shown, so that the handle on the top and the cutout on the bottom will be a mirror of each other. Once I had both sides cut out, it was time to start assembling. I grabbed my Kreg 320 pocket hole jig again and drilled 3¼ inch pocket holes along the outside edges of the bottom square, and then drilled one 3¼ inch pocket hole on each end of the short cutout sides at the top, just like shown. Then I assembled the tray with an 1¼ inch pocket hole screws, screwing all four sides in place like shown around the bottom square. And then once I had all the sides in place, I screwed them together at the top through the holes I drilled in the cutout pieces. Once the tray was together, I marked on my handles where they needed to be trimmed and used my circular saw and a Diablo Steel Demon saw blade to trim the handles down to size. If you didn't have a metal saw blade for your circular saw, you could definitely use a hacksaw for this as well, or a metal blade in your jigsaw. Then, to give me a way to attach them to the tray, I drilled 2 holes in each side, large enough for an 1-inch-long wood screw to fit through, but small enough that the screw won't go all the way through and the head of the screw will actually hold it in place. Then I gave the tray a simple beeswax finish to keep the natural cypress color. While that was soaking in, I gave the handles a couple coats of rose gold spray paint just like I used on my flatware caddy, and once that was dry, I screwed the handles in place onto the tray with the 1-inch-long wood screws and the tray was complete. I love using pocket holes to build because it makes assembly quick and easy and attainable for all skill levels, but I don't like seeing the holes when I'm finished with the project. This design allowed me to hide all of my pocket holes either underneath the handles or underneath the tray. It's simple, it's sturdy, and it's easy to put together. That's a win-win-win in my book. Plus, I'm such a sucker for this cypress and rose gold combo, I will definitely be using this again for another build. So if you're ready to get building, head over to check out the free plans for this project and hundreds more at buildsomething.com. I'll leave a direct link for you below, and if you like this video, I would love if you'd give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you aren't already so that you don't miss out on what's coming next. So until next time, friends, happy building!